guys, Steph here with my embossing tips video. I am trying this again because I got interrupted about 5 times before I gave up. So I have to start all over. Okay, so I'm going to try a couple different tips and techniques here for the embossing. First off, I'm going to be starting with a sentiment on white paper, and the embossing powder I happen to grab is the Zing Pewter. That's what I happen to grab. Now, what I've used in the past is a new dryer sheet and rub it over your paper, and that's going to prep it to make sure static doesn't cling to it so that this doesn't cling to other areas. They also have in Michael's the little powder bag, and you would just rub that over. And then I also have this, which is the EK Tools powder tool, and you're just going to rub it over there. And with the dryer sheet, you're just going to do the same thing. Rub it over. And this is going to just give you a nice, clean embossing so that it doesn't get everywhere. I'm just going to use a paper smooches. And I'm using Versamark ink. And I normally store these upside down so that all my ink is at the top. And I am just tapping it. You don't want to smush it in there, because if you do, you're going to get the Versamark ink everywhere else too, and you just want it on the sentiment. So tap, but make sure it's on there good. And then you're gonna stamp it good. And I like to check it. I know you guys won't be able to see. And then I'm gonna take my scratch paper and my embossing powder, and I'm trying to do this quick before I get interrupted again, guys. Sorry. And I'm just going to pour that on, flick it. Okay. And I always keep a little paintbrush handy in case I need to clean any off that does happen to be on there, because I'm rushing. I'm always rushing. And I like to put it on there liberally so I get a nice good amount on. Then let me pour this back in, and I just use regular old like copy paper for scratch paper. Then what you're gonna do is take your heat tool. I happen to have a Marby Yukita one and this might get a little loud. I hold it away from my paper while it heats up until it gets hot, because the more it's on the paper, the more likely the paper is going to warp a bit. Once it's a little bit heated up, then I'm going to go back and forth until it starts to melt. Once it's melted, I like to flip it over, do it once on the back, and that helps keep your paper flat. So as soon as it melts, you flip it over, do once on the back, and that helps, because as you're heating it, if it starts to bend this way, if you flip it and heat it, it'll bend back to flat. So there's that heat embossed. So that's just a sentiment, and I hope that gave you some tips. The next thing I'm going to do is clear on white, and I'll show you why. Let me just use my powder tool real quick and grab a different stamp to show you why. Now, I know a lot of you guys do know, these techniques. I'm just showing for people that have asked. So I'm just using a little butterfly here, and I'm going to tap and ink up. My clear embossing powder and my white embossing powder I like to keep in little containers because I use them the most. And that way I don't have to mess around with pouring it back in and out. So, where did I put my clear? Okay. So my clear is just in a little container with a little measuring spoon in there. And that way I can just pour it over, tap it back into the thing, flick the back, and then check it, make sure I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see right now. And then just clean it up, nice and easy. Okay, so that's the clear, and then we're going to do the same thing hold it away till it gets hot. Mine's hotter because I just used it. And then heat it up. As soon as it melts, flip it over. Heat the back real quick to flatten your paper. This technique I'm doing because when it's clear embossed, I'm just going to give it a minute to cool down. When it's clear embossed, and you can do this on any color paper you'd like, but with the white, and I just grabbed my closest ink pad, which is Jenny Bolin chewing gum. You can then go in and take your ink, your glimmer mist, anything you want like that. You know, your Tim Holtz ink, your glimmer mists, your sprays, anything like that. And just go in and ink it. And you could really do this with any color embossing powder. I'm just showing the clear to give you an idea. And then I don't have a towel or wipe handy, so I'm just going to clean it with my sweatshirt. And that bright light, sorry guys. And there you go. You have an inked little thing. So, that's that one. And next, I'm going to show you black on white. Where am I at on time? Let me hurry this up. And we're always going to get the static off. I know it looks powdery, but that will come off after you emboss. So I'm just going to use my butterfly again, just to show. I'm trying to think in my head if there's any tips that I have. I always stamp on a book on top. First I have this foam pad that's like a mouse pad, and then a book. I feel like I get a better impression. It's an old book, but it's sturdy, so that's what I tend to use. And I just have my white embossing powder marked in this little container. And same thing, I'm just going to pour it on, give it a flick, and that looks pretty good. Let me just see if there's anywhere that needs to be cleaned off. The black especially, you want to make sure that there's none on there, because when you heat that, it's on there for good and it's noticeable. Okay, that looks pretty good. Close this up, and same thing. And you can go on the back. Mine, this scrap paper is really thick cardstock, so it didn't really bend. And then what's great about heat embossing with these is you can use something like Perfect Pearls. Okay, let me just grab one of these and show real quick. I'll just use this paintbrush for now. Grab a little bit, put it on there to give it a little shimmer. Now this I would obviously fussy cut out. And that way you can do different colors and stuff too. And then you're gonna spritz real quick, which I'm gonna do in here. Hold on. Just to set it. Give it a little spritz. Once that dries, you can wipe that off of there, which again, I don't have a towel. And then you could fussy cut that out and it's shimmery gold. You know, with the paintbrush, I was in a rush. You can just get in the lines if you don't want to fussy cut it out. And use your Perfect Pearls on there. A white sentiment always looks nice. And if you do get a little gap or something, use a white gel pen. Okay, I'm about to get interrupted by my 4-year-old, so I'm going to go. If you have any other questions, please ask. I hope I gave some helpful hints and tips. Thanks for watching. Bye.